Every life has a soundtrack. Join me as we invite guests to share their journey through music, one song at a time. 10 moments, 10 memories. I'm your host, Sean, and welcome to 10 Tracks.
Are you ready?
Welcome to 10 Tracks. My guest today is Mireia Mujika. Mireia is a leadership strategist and founder of Bare&Brave, which is a development company based in Dubai. She works with multinational organizations to help their executives and teams gain clarity, increase effectiveness, and generate lasting impact. Mireia is a PCC-certified executive coach, a consultant, and speaker with a deep focus on collective leadership, team coaching, and leadership effectiveness. She's passionate about helping leaders and teams navigate complexity with self-awareness and purpose. Welcome, Mireia.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm really excited about this podcast.
Tell me where you are in the world, which I have a clue, but just for listeners.
I'm in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Yeah.
And that's been home for some time for you, right?
Yeah, so tomorrow is gonna be 13 years.
Wow.
That we're working here. Yeah.
Okay. But now tell me where you're originally from.
I'm from the north of Spain, from the Basque Country. Yeah.
The Basque Country. Okay. And I think that's obviously, we'll segue into a little bit about some of the tracks, but tell me a little bit about growing up and just your early life before moving to Dubai.
Yeah, so I mean, like if we go to those years, like the 80s, right? I was born in 82. So those years living in the Basque Country, it was something that marked my childhood for sure, something that marked me forever, right? There was this political situation there. We had the Basque terrorist group called ETA. So it was a very harsh moment to live in the Basque Country. There was a lot of fight. There was a lot of politics going on. There was a lot of misunderstanding. There was terrorism, right? And from both sides, I would say, right? Like there was a state terrorism as well. So it was not an easy moment to live in. As a child, I couldn't really grasp what was going on, but I hated it. I hated it. I remember being in fight and flight all the time. In what can I say here? What can I not say? What am I like? Am I wearing something that is not going to be accepted? What am I doing? What? So it was always. I remember even like being in the student council, and someone had bought with the little money that we had. Someone had bought some pens. And then there was this discussion about these pens, where were they from? Because maybe they were done in a state that was against the Basque Country. And things like that were always popping up, right? Like any discussion could turn out in something political. So it was quite hectic. I also remember, Basques, and what happens with a country or with a community that has a terrorist group in. So if you are Basque equals being a terrorist, right? The same way that, Palestine. So if you're Palestinian and they have Hamas, then all the Palestinians are terrorists, right? Or all the Arab people are terrorists, right? So that is something that happens to humans in their heads, right? So then we have to always be careful when we were not in the Basque Country to maybe not speaking Basque, maybe not saying where we're really from. When we were going on vacation, my mother would tell us, okay, when we leave the house, we stop speaking Basque. And if someone asks you where you are from, you say from the north. That was it. That were the instructions, right? So then, and with that, there were many other things that you were aware of, like being able to do or not being able to do. So yeah, that was a little bit
but this is also like, this has something that's impacted Spain as a country, there's been quite a few regions or areas that have wanted to kind of separate, but the Basque was obviously a very traditional, but it was almost, there was a lot of politics around this, but I mean, in terms of the Basque region today, what's the situation? Is there still conflict, or is it less so, but,
It's disappeared. It's for me, it's crazy. Having lived all that now I go and it seems like nothing ever happened. So I am happy for that, right? But for me, it's like, wow, what really happened here, right? Like
yeah.
and it's something that people like younger generations will never understand, right? That we went through some traumatic experience that was never recognized.
Hmm.
That I remember going to school and someone would tell us, no, run home because there is a bomb threat.
Yeah.
Things like that used to happen, right? Things like that were normalized. I remember running away from the police when I have never been political. Well, I have never been in anything related to politics, and I had to run away when I was just like partying in the street, right? So things like that were very, very normalized. Or like, be careful of like on a Friday night not parking your car next to a trash container because that
Hmm.
could turn in flames very easily,
Yeah.
or a bank ATM, right? Be aware with that. So these things were normalized in us. We just couldn't do those things. Now, like I think about it, and I remember vividly going to a restaurant and coming out from the restaurant, and my parents checking if we had a shell bomb in the car, right? Just let's check it
Wow.
out. Right, these things we used to do them.
Yeah. I lived in the UK in the 90s in London, and I remember, when you take the tube or things like that, there would be the IRA and there would be bomb threats and stuff. And at first I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, it was coming from the States and then moving to the UK, not knowing anything about the whole conflict in Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
It was really weird. And then after a while, you did normalize to it because it was like the tube is like there because of a bomb scare or threat. You can't, the tube's closed. So it was
yeah,
more of an annoyance, which I think
yeah,
was also part of, the whole conflict was just to piss
yeah,
off
yeah,
the government, then which impacted the people in the city.
yeah.
But it is a strange world to go through that. And I think, there's obviously still parts, like you mentioned, in the Middle East that are having conflicts and going through stuff like that now. But in how people just sometimes you're numb to it, sometimes it impacts you in how you have to live. But I think spending some time in the Catalan region in Barcelona in particular, I think that was another area that we're looking for their own kind of, I don't know if it was full separation, but
Yeah, they also wanted to have some independence. Yeah, I think right now actually Catalonia is still pursuing that, whereas the Basque Country is just like, look, we fought for it. That's it. We're tired. Let's just go with it. I think there
yeah,
was too much damage done
yeah,
for really nothing, right? If you look at the letter that the ETA sent when they said like, okay, this is it. So the main reason why they stopped is literally that was what it was saying was we don't see any more reason to continue this fight. That
yeah.
was it. So yeah,
But culturally, the Basque region is very close to the French border as well.
yes,
So
yeah,
culturally, you have a lot of influences from France and Spain, but it's
yeah.
quite a unique mix, which obviously should be celebrated, and not kind of,
Yeah, it should be celebrated, but I think like Spain has always been, I think it's a conglomerate of different cultures, right? Because if you look at, yeah, Catalans, Basque, but then Galicians also, or if you go to
mhm,
Andalusia or the Castillas, like every every one of these communities is very different from the other, right? Yes, we have many things in common, but like if you look at an Andalusian and a Basque person, it's quite different. The food is different. How we talk is different. The Basque language is different from any Latin or Anglo-Saxon language, right? It's the only, well, apart from Finnish and the Georgian, is these languages that
Hungarian.
have no family, right?
Yeah.
So then it's obviously that also gives the Basque people that reason to say like, hey, we're different, right? Like, where is this language coming from? Like everyone that is surrounding us is speaking a Latin language, but we're not. So why is that? Right. So there is, I mean, and there is a lot of theory about that as well. Now, what happened there was that when the Spanish state was finally formed, and then obviously years passed by, then we have actually a king that is the king of Spain, and then Franco comes. And Franco is like, forgive me, but like all these differences between these little communities, I don't like them. So just let's wipe out as much as we can of these differences, right? And Franco, being the dictator that he was, he obviously wanted to remove the Basque culture from Spain, but obviously that fired back,
Yeah.
and that's how the ETA started, right? So that's when Franco died, the first action of the ETA was actually killing the successor of Franco. That was the first thing that they did. So and I think the first song that we have is actually because of that, right? So when Franco finally seems like I'm waiting for him. When Franco died, there was a big effort to bring back the Basque culture and the Basque language, because the Basque language was forbidden while Franco was in I was gonna say in his dictatorship, right? So I even remember my grandma has spent several days in jail because she spoke Basque in the street, and some policemen listened to that, heard that, and then people were put in jail for several days because they spoke Basque. The problem was that many of these people could actually not speak Spanish. At that time, they just, awful in rural places like where my grandma was living, right? Like they didn't know any other language apart from Basque.
So this is like, as you said, this is track one.
Yeah.
And the artist is
Oskorri. Oskorri was the band that did a lot of effort in order to bring the Basque culture and Basque language back to normality. And the song is called Euskal Herrian Euskaraz, which means Basque language in the Basque country. And this for me was the realization. So this, I remember there was this one day, so it seemed like Franco was trying to push law there in order to decrease the use of Basque language in the schools. So obviously this song was like a manifestation, a demonstration of like, hey, you know, we actually want to speak Basque in our lives. So, and that's what the song is talking about.
But people today do speak Basque.
People today do speak Basque freely. There's no any law against it. There's no any limitation against it. There is nothing about it. So if you want to speak Basque, you can speak Basque freely, which is great.
How does it feel for you? Because obviously, leaving Spain and traveling around, and now obviously you've been spending quite a long time in the Emirates. Do you feel like no matter what you are Basque, or does there still a part of you that identifies as Spanish plus Basque, or how do you decode that?
That's a very difficult question. I mean, I think being Basque marks you no matter what, because it's a we're few. Yeah, there are not many Basque people. They're not also like in the Basque country, you have many Basque people that don't speak Basque, right? So those ones that do speak Basque, I mean, I can recognize a person by by the first three words that they say in Spanish. I know if they are Basque. If they are speaking Basque, I know where they are from. I
Wow. Yeah.
Because also the Basque language has lots of dialects, right? So then we can know. So for me, being Basque is something that is ingrained in me. But I think I'm a citizen of the world. I don't feel anymore so identified with the Basque identity, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Yes, it is part of my roots. It's where I come from. Today, do I feel Basque? Yes. Do I feel a citizen of the world? Yes. Do I feel European? Yes. Do I feel Spanish? Yes. Do I feel? Yes. There are many things that I can relate to. For example, right, it's not by coincidence that my best friends in Dubai speak Spanish,
Yeah.
right? So I think there is always, if you share that background, there is always that connection to these people that is easier than to, I don't know, someone that is coming from India in this case, right? For me,
Yeah.
it is easier to connect to people that speak the same language. It's easier to connect with people that have a similar background. I don't know, for me, it would be easier probably to relate to an Italian than to relate to someone in Finland. Probably, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. So what about when it comes to sports? Are you supporting Spain, or
That's a big debate.
it would be good if you didn't, seeing as they are a powerhouse?
That's a good one. So actually, I mean, because there is always this debate between like, oh, if Spain wins, are the Basque people going to, or like the last fight, I can't remember what it was. It was Spain against Germany or something like that. I can't remember. And so some Basque people were supporting Germany, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's very funny. But no, I will support Spain, although my husband is German.
And then even like Rafa or Alcaraz, you still will possibly lean towards them.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I good, I good. I good. If you tell me Alonso signed in Formula One, I think I have my heart with Antonelli at this moment.
Yeah. This exploration, you going through your 10 tracks, you know, as you focus on strategies for leadership, I mean, this was quite brave of you to pull this together. I mean, I talk to people now, and when they ask me what they have to do and, to compile this, it is, I do recommend that they look into themselves, especially people who are in roles like you are. You're coaching, you're helping other people to perform better. But when you have to do this reflection yourself, it's quite, it doesn't, you can go as deep as you want, personally, but I think in what you want to share, what you want to reflect on. But obviously, this is just these songs that you pick, they have some sort of special meaning to you. So I'm curious as to somebody in your role and how you work with people and then doing this exercise yourself, if it, it was easy or a challenge as well.
So when you first contacted me, I was like, wow, I really want to do this exercise for myself. Like I thought it was a great exploration, and I would recommend this exercise to anyone, because you have to choose 10, you know. It's not 11 or it's not 5. You have to choose 10. So then how do you go through it, knowing that you have 10 tracks and it's a little bit the story that you want to tell, right? So for me, it was a great exercise of exploration, as you said, to check into, okay, so what are the songs that have marked my life? And I really enjoyed doing the exercise, I have to tell you. It was it took me some time. It was not that easy. And then first I thought about this song and this song and this song, and then I was like, no, it's not this song. Like there has to be something else.
Yeah.
So and then also I have to say that there was, for example, one song, and then when I checked into the lyrics, I was like, oh my God, like it was a song from like about like 70s, 80s that came out in the 70s, 80s. And now when reading the lyrics, I was like, oh my God, I so much disagree with this, right? It was a little bit like putting the woman in a place where I don't like. So it was a great reflection because then I was like, wow, this song that I always had in my mind, I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then some other songs that have a special meaning now, right? That they would have not had the meaning at that moment. That now, looking from now to those years, it makes much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do
yeah,
you, do you think that music could assist you in your coaching or in working with people
yes,
and play
and
a
many
role
times
in
it
that?
does.
It does.
Many times it does. I sometimes, not only music, also I ask about movies, right? So, hey, if in this moment for you in life would be a movie or would be a song or a piece of art, what would that be, you know?
Yeah.
Or when I know that, for example, I had a client that was very much into Porsche, the car. So I was like, okay, so if this moment is a Porsche, which one is it? And he was like, well, I completely wrecked Porsche. Yeah. So it helps us a lot. I mean, metaphors always help a lot. And going into, instead of like thinking of, as we do, thinking with the mind, songs, movies, metaphors bring us more to the heart, to the gut. So bring us more to the body. So that helps a lot. Like all these, instead of going through, okay, so what do you think about your time in, how would you describe your time now? Instead going in the, like, if this time now was a movie, what movie would that be?
Yeah, yeah.
It
That's
helps.
really
Yeah, yeah. Instead
that's a
of
good
being in the mind, we go into the body. Yeah.
yeah. That's a good question, and I would not be able to just name it. Like I did get asked the question because I was interviewed on a podcast a week ago or so, and they said, "What song is does it make you think, or a film?" And I couldn't think. I was like, "I'm gonna need," because there is so much in you consuming, but
Yeah.
also what does impact you. And even like
Yeah.
I don't want to be that anymore. Like you said, I think
Yeah.
this song, it represented something to me at some time, but it's not me anymore, or I
Yeah.
I I release it, so to speak.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's maturing process, right? Like that, going through those phases that, well, this meant something to me, but doesn't mean any, like, it doesn't mean that anymore.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, that version of me is expired. That's
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Let's get to track two.
yes.
Now you're going to help me with this title and
Yeah,
the author.
Xalbadorren Heriotzean. So this is in the on the death of Salvador. Salvador was a Berzolari. Berzolari. So I have to
Was this
explain
was a
that.
poet? A song about a poet?
So it's so in the Basque Country there is this very, very traditional thing that we do, that is like, I mean, if you are a Berzolari, then what you do is you go to a square or to a stage or whatever, and you improvise songs. You
Okay.
come up with songs, and sometimes there are competitions, right? And in the competitions, for example, someone could tell you like, okay, so this is the topic, this is the rhythm that you have to follow, yeah, so now come up with a song, and then there is a competition, right? So the first one goes and he sings, completely improvised. The second one goes on, completely improvised as well. Then the first one comes back, boom, 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 and it's beautiful also because the rhythm of these songs are set like we know them, yeah, all of us. So then, and the last verse, the last two sentences, you always repeat them. So then, normally the whole stage can repeat them again. So it's a very fun and community building activity. So Salvador was one of those Berzolaris.
Mm-hmm.
And this song is, well, this one is written by Ramon Martí Corena, which was another singer. And then this one is sung by Xabier Lete. Anyway, so it's a beautiful song. It's a very old song, 1976. And
Yep.
it's talking about that loneliness that men many times carry. And this marked me as a child, like this, because I think like I don't know if it was only the Basque society, but I think it was more or broader than that. But I did feel how men could not express their feelings, right? And I think this is still what's happening today. I think we have come a long way, but still we have a long way to go. So this song for me represents that that loneliness that men suffer in silence. Those all these mental states that they thought they were not supposed to share. The song, I mean, look, I translated a little bit. So the song says, there once was a friend, tender-hearted in every way, who was transformed by the wings of poetry and verses full of feelings. He was a singer in the village squares, filled with loneliness, spinning the flax of words and enduring within himself, shaped and taught by pain. So the poetry used there and how the words that they use in Basque is beautiful. I think it's like lyrically one of the most beautiful songs in Basque. And then for me, wow, someone finally is talking about men, and this was in 1976, men that suffer from this, you know? So for me, like when I
Not sharing
first,
their feelings.
yeah, when I first listened to the song, I was like, wow, like people are starting to talk about this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's something that I work a lot right now with.
That's what I was going to ask you. In
Yeah,
terms of men that you work with,
yeah.
how do you still see this apparent, or it still is hidden?
Painfully, yes. Above all, in people that are working in those C levels or executive levels, that's what I see a lot, right? I mean, we all know that the CEO position is a very lonely one, right? Because you cannot share much with anyone. Uh, but still, I think there is a lot of suffering. There is a lot of silence that wouldn't need to be. Like 2, 3 weeks ago, I was talking to a young man, like around 35 years old, and he told me, "Whoa, like after our first session, he said, like, I have never talked to anyone as I have talked to you today." And
Wow.
I was like, "Wow," and that I find it a lot.
Do you think it's also culturally?
It
Like in
is,
certain regions, you might get
yes,
less, because where you are, I've done work there, and we've had events, and a lot of times the men won't raise their hand to ask questions or want to, if they don't know the answer or they don't feel they're an expert.
yeah,
Whereas women in the room, even if they're locals, will tend to ask questions or be
yes,
more outspoken. So I
yeah.
wasn't sure if you recognize this in other industries or sectors as well.
Yes, I recognize that now, and as you say, like I recognize it in the region that I'm working with, yes, but I also have seen this in Europe. I
Yeah.
have European clients, and I mean, there is one, for example, that he told me, I cannot I cannot talk like this to my wife or to my friends. And he's a European person, more or less our age, right? So I
There's this
find that,
stoicism, right? That they feel they have to have, and it's bizarre. I'm not sure I get it, but I think maybe um, sometimes people, and maybe myself included, some things you might think are sort of so trivial that it's not necessary. Whereas it probably sometimes my wife says to me, like, "Why didn't you tell me that bit of the story?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't think it was necessary, but it might have been something that was trivial." And she asks me sometimes 800 questions when I'm trying to tell her something. Oh, who did you speak to about this? And you're like, "Well, we
yeah,
just talked about that." She goes, "That's all the conversation was?" And I was like, "Well,
yeah,
maybe it was more that I think it's not even about not wanting to share. Like sometimes maybe it's what do I think was important parts to tell,
yeah,
and maybe it's because you consider it like a business. Like here's the facts, here's what was
yeah,
important,
yeah.
but not
Yeah,
the
bottom lining
vital.
too much, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
going. Yeah, I think like if I think of these clients that are, for example, the Westerners, just to say it like that, I think it's also, there is a point there of, I don't want to worry my friends and wife about these thoughts that I have, or I don't want to bore them because sometimes, they're talking to me about this particular thing that happened at work, or this particular pain point that they're going through in the workplace, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about this to my wife. I don't want to talk about this to my friends. Like when I'm with my friends, I just want to have fun. Um, it depends also on your friendships. I don't know. For example, I have friends that I can go extremely philosophical, that we can go there, and be there and stay there in the philosophy, blah blah blah. And I
Yeah.
have friends that would like tell me like, Mire, enough, okay? Like, what is this, right? So then it also depends. Like, I think it helps when we have relationships where, you know, that are different from each other and that we can play different roles.
Yeah.
I think if I had only friends that were just philosophical, I would maybe be overwhelmed, Like, I want to have these friends that I just can go and, hey, girls, let's just have fun.
And it is interesting because I have old friends that I've grown up with that have known me most of my life and probably think, that they know most of me or
Yeah,
versions of me.
yeah,
And you can just not talk to them for 2 years and then you see them or connect with
yeah,
them again and you fall back into who
yeah,
you each are. Even though when we're with other people, people who I'm not as close or doesn't know me as well, we probably would have deeper conversations and talk about things that are more important to me now,
yeah,
but yet don't maybe remember me or that part of me that they do. So I don't think sometimes it's not bad to have both or to
yeah,
multiple different and
yeah,
different friends in different ways
yeah. I
to
agree.
because it keeps you if you only have these deep thinking sort of Sata whatever types of friends,
Yes,
then maybe
yes,
life might be very serious or kind
exactly.
of
Exactly. I like having the variety. Yeah, and back to what we were saying before, like that version of me expired. That sometimes happens to me. And wanted or not, I have to confess that sometimes I get bothered by it. It's like, oh, you have an image of me that already got expired. Like, I'm not that person. So don't just, like, don't. And sometimes it
is that people who
also,
knew you before or people just have
let's
an
say people
impression
who
of
knew
you
me
that they
like,
see you now?
let's say people who knew me like 12 years ago, right? And
Hmm.
for them, I'm still in that phase or state or whatever, right? And and then I ask myself, like, is it me that is not showing, I'm not showing as I am right now to them? Or is it them that they are not able to see me as I am right now?
I
Right?
think it's probably more the latter.
Or maybe both.
Yeah.
So, but it's I don't know, it makes me think a lot about like how we see people, how we see things, right? Do my parents see me still as the child that I used to be? Are they able to see me as I am right now? Who, and I always, sometimes I think also that there may be, from the experience that I have also with my clients, right? Sometimes they tell me this, right? That this person is not able to see me as I am, as who I am, right? And I
Yeah.
think if someone is not able to see you as you are right now, maybe just question that relationship because maybe they are
Yeah.
not putting enough effort to see you as you are now.
That's so
I
true.
don't know.
I think that and do you also feel that based on different clients that you're working with from obviously different regions, different countries, etc., that also changes the version of you that might need to be seen? Or if someone is a CEO or if someone is a very shy person, you have to kind of meet them halfway or something, right?
Yes, um, there are two things here, I think. So one one is when I think a person, for example, right, has to go from being a manager to a leader position, or like, or from not having direct reportees to having direct reportees, right?
Hmm.
Or for example, a person that is now in the team and suddenly the next day he's promoted and he is managing the people that were his or her peers. That is a difficult transition.
Yeah.
Because first of all, many times it's the person that has been promoted, he feels guilty of being there now, of managing the ones that were their peers, right? So I think that one is always a difficult transition, and you have to be clear. Like if that happens to you, if you go from manager to leader, or from peer to manager, you have to have it clear, like, okay, what are the boundaries that you have? Because those boundaries, if you don't put them clear, if you don't set them clear in the very first month, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And it is difficult because these people are probably your friends. These people, like, you have spent much time with them, and now suddenly you are in that other position, right? And I know that sometimes it's difficult. And above all, what you were saying, right? Like if you're a person that is shy or like a little bit introverted, it is difficult. But that is something that, and that happens in every region. I think like also leadership is many times very, very similar, no matter in which region of the world we are.
I think so. Let's jump to track 3.
Okay.
This is Dr. Deseo.
Dr. Deseo, yeah, like
Yeah.
the desire doctor. And this is Corazon de Tango, so tango heart. This is Dr. Deseo or Fito y los Fitipaldis. These were bands that, I don't
Is this
know,
a Basque band as well?
Basque band as well. Just fun. These ones are singing in Spanish. They were just fun and talking not about politics, because most of the Basque music was about politics in that time. So these people were not finally we're not talking about politics, and this was fun. And this song always reminds me of that time. So I was working with who is my best friend now, Ainara, one of my best friends, and we used to work together. And on Fridays in the Basque Country, at least, you work only until 12:01, and then you are out. And we used to go to Endaya, which is already France. And yeah, we used to go surfing there. And those moments for me like mark me a lot as well. Like doing this surfing with friends, with my girlfriends, and it was just a lot of fun. So this is one of the songs that is always there with me, that reminds me of that moment.
And there's a lyric in the song which I kind of had translated. I don't know if this is important to you, but it's something that says, "A tango heart beats between wounds and embraces." That's a lovely line.
It is. It is. It is. And this song actually talks about heartbreak. You say it in English, right?
Yeah, heartbreak.
Heartbreak. Yeah, for me, it doesn't represent so much that heartbreak or anything, but I think this line that you just mentioned is it's a beautiful line, and it's something that is always there, right? And it's not only, yeah, it's every heart, and it's not a broken heart necessarily. I think every moment in life that can be painful can be also a great teacher.
Yeah.
And everything, I think the dark side, to put it that way, maybe we talk about it later on, but the dark side and the light side are so intertwined, and they are so needed. One needs the other, and one cannot live without the other, right? So I think being there and embracing the pain, embracing whatever is dark for us, helps us in growing, in maturing, in making this journey of life a little bit more understandable, a little bit more full of acceptance.
And it also makes you feel alive. Even something now you look back and think, oh, this was such a big heartbreak, or something that happened in my life when I was 15 or 20.
Yeah.
And now you think about yourself and reflect on it, and you think, wow, okay, that was not so big, but it's kind of helped me transition to the person, or to continue to grow and move and to
Indeed.
so
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and that was also a little bit, it reminds me also that maybe that's why also I chose this song, because it's about saying a goodbye, right? And for me, this was also like the goodbye of San Sebastian, and then I went to live in Barcelona. So yeah, and Barcelona was another great place where I learned a lot, amazing years, a lot of fun, a lot of learning. Yeah, it was very nice. And then, so being there in the summer of 2012, I traveled to Thailand, doing a stopover in Dubai.
Are we segueing into track 4?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Good segue. Okay.
We're going there.
Okay.
So that was just such a big coincidence, but such a change in my life. Oh, I'm gonna tell the whole story because I think we have time. Are we
Yeah.
good in time?
We're good. No, so this
Yeah.
is track 4.
Track 4.
This is
Don't
Queen.
stop me now. Yeah.
Don't Stop Me Now. This is you were you going from Barcelona
From Barcelona. Yeah.
to Thailand
Yeah.
with a stopover in,
In Dubai.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I just look that was summer 2012, right? And I was just like so like I just wanted to travel. All my friends had plans and no one wanted to come with me traveling. I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, I'm traveling alone. That's it. So
Wow.
I got my backpack, cheapest flight from Barcelona to Thailand, stopover in Dubai of like 7, 9 hours, something like that. I was like, yeah, okay. And I remember that in February, during the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, I had met someone that was living in Dubai. And I was like, oh, I have his business card somewhere. So I looked for the business card, wrote him on LinkedIn and asked him like, hey, I'm doing a stopover in Dubai. I have like 7, 9 hours. What do I do? They were like, well, so it's Ramadan, everything is going to be closed. Ramadan at that time and now is very different. At that
Yeah.
time, everything was closed, no food you could get, like no
Outside of the
music, no
airport,
alcohol,
maybe.
like everything was like deserted.
Yeah.
And I was arriving in the night. So this person tells me like, hey, you know what? Don't worry, everything is Ramadan, everything is closed. We'll pick you up at the airport and we have a little gathering at our place. So you stay with us and then you can take your next plane. So they picked me up at the airport. They showed me a little bit Dubai in the car. Then we went to their place, have fun, had a shower, and to Thailand I was off. While I was in Thailand, they wrote me saying like, hey, you know what? The other day you were saying that you were looking for like living in Spain. I wanted to live in Spain. I wanted to go abroad. And I was already doing plans for that. And they told me like, look, this company is exactly looking for your profile. At that time in Barcelona, we were coming out with the first apps on mobile phones. And I was doing that project in my company, and this was exactly the same company. And they needed a product manager that was doing apps
In the region.
in the region, in Dubai.
Yeah.
I was like, here's my CV. Shoo. And on my last night in Thailand, this company calls me and they tell me like, look, we know that tomorrow you're in Dubai, you have another layover of another 7, 9 hours. Why don't you come to our offices? We have an interview and see. I was like, sure, why not? So that's why don't stop me now because I was like, yeah. And I had to go shopping because I didn't have anything in my backpack that was clean or decent to go to an interview. So I just went shopping, took the plane the next morning, and I had my interview of I don't know how many hours. I interviewed with 7 different people. And yeah, and then that was it. So that was in September. And in November 2012, 15th of November, I was in Dubai. And yeah,
That's tomorrow.
tomorrow, 13 years.
Wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
excellent.
And I married the guy that picked me up at the airport.
I was wondering where that part of the story and who. Okay, so that was the card you got.
I I married him. We have 2 children. Yeah. So yeah, so that's why like that decision of like just, hey, you know what, I'm gonna travel alone. I'm gonna go to Thailand, cheapest flight, 7, 9 hours in Dubai. Well, let's see what I do in Dubai. And suddenly, just everything like the stars aligned or something, and suddenly all this happens, right? And sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, wow, it's so crazy. But yeah,
If you would have just not looked for that card and sat in the airport for those 9 hours reading a book,
yeah,
you might be somewhere else and doing something completely different.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
oh wow, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful story.
Yeah, it's crazy like how like certain coincidences just aligned and suddenly like I found myself. But the funny thing is that it's like before going in this trip, I got angry with my manager, with Mark, in in my job in Barcelona, and I told him, you know what, maybe I just go to Dubai and find a job there.
You manifested it.
I'm I completely manifest. I mean, how can I do this again? Because I really need some manifestation here. I don't like it's crazy, right? And then when I resigned, when I went with my resignation, he asked me, "Oh, you already had something aligned." And I was when you got angry with me, and I'm like, "No, I didn't." But somehow it occurred. So yeah, crazy. But anyway, so yeah, that stopover was for me quite a thing.
Yeah,
And that's how
well,
I came
life
through. I went to
changing.
Dubai. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's jump into track 5.
Yes.
Uh, this is quite a bit of a punky song. This is Green Day, and the song's
Yeah.
called She.
Yeah. 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 So I arrived in Dubai and I'm with all my love to English people. I was in a company whose culture or the culture of the company was very, very much English, which was quite a contrast for me.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel that, the way I spoke, the way I laughed, the way I was not really well seen. And that I had to adapt a lot in order to fit in the culture of the company, right? So for me, it was tough. It was tough. I mean, my English was not good either. So yeah, for me, that first year I was exhausted all the time because I had to make so much effort in order to understand what was going on, in order to understand the different accents of everyone, right? Like not only the English, but also the Australian and the Indian and the Pakistani and the Australian, like every different accent that you can imagine, right? So for me, it was difficult, like that fitting in Dubai. Also, Dubai is very different from what we know, right? And for me, like simple things like doing sports outdoors. Oh, wow. Wait, because there are some months in Dubai that you can't actually do that. Or walk into the office and suddenly like, oh my God, I cannot walk. Like my office and my apartment are here, but I cannot do this distance because I sweat and I'm soaked in sweat. So these things that are very different, it took me a while to adapt to them.
I mean, culturally, it is an interesting place because people don't really walk there. Going from Europe and even parts of the States and even maybe the Far East, people tend to walk more. They have neighborhoods. They have, and
Yes.
it's not something in a lot of, especially in Dubai, which I've spent a lot of time in, where you can, even if it's maybe a kilometer where you think, oh, this is great. I get some morning walk. I can listen to music or
Yeah.
read it, listen to a book.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost absurd. I think I've taken the public metro in Dubai once while I was there. It's just, and even that was empty. I mean, like I was like me and one other guy who was with me. We said, oh, we're just going to take it because our hotel was on the
Yeah.
metro. I think we were the Marriott Marquis or something.
Yeah.
But it would literally like nobody was on there, and it was just such a strange, in place to want to explore. But once you get to some building or some property or another hotel, then there's things you can do and walk around there, but it's a different
Yeah, so it's a very different setup from what we know, right? Even like streets, right? Sometimes in Dubai you don't have streets. You go by the name of the building
yeah.
because every building has a name, right? So it's for me it was a very strange country, a very strange environment, very different from everything that I knew. And I chose this track because above all there is this for me, it was the above all trying to adapt to that culture where I had to be a little bit more silent, where I had to be a little bit more less me, right? So then, like there are like this in this song, there's this like screaming of like I'm breaking. This is uh, the brick of self-control. Like I can't remember now how are the lyrics, but there's this part of me that I remember like I was that at that year I listened to this song so much because that's what I was feeling, right? That I couldn't, like, I was so much controlling myself and so much adapting to that environment that I was losing who I am.
Yeah.
So that was the toughest part of all. Like, forget about the walking, forget about the sports, forget about all that. For me, the hardest thing that I did that year was trying to adapt to a culture that wouldn't allow me to be myself. And that was difficult.
And also, as you mentioned, I mean, Dubai is filled with a lot of expats. So, like you said, Australians, Brits,
Everywhere.
um,
Like, yeah.
a lot of, and that tends to be kind of an unwritten cultural rule, even though it's not necessary. It's just because they kind of migrated there and tend to take a lot of these with the companies that look for offices in the
Yeah.
region. So
Yeah.
it tends to be that culture, which wasn't. It's not meant to be. It's just somehow
Exactly. It's not the culture of the country, it's
no.
the culture of the company. For me, it was not the culture of the country. I was very happy with the culture of the country. I just couldn't adapt to the culture of my company at that moment. And
Yeah,
then, because we got bought, blah, 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 suddenly the culture of the company changed, shifted. And suddenly I was like, aha, now I can work here.
yeah.
So yeah, but yes, like at that time, like 12 years, 12, 13 years ago, there were many companies, that had that culture that was, well, okay, like where did I come? Because this is not the culture of the country. So where is this culture coming from? Where is it coming from? So yeah, yeah, it was very interesting.
So you're the she in the song that has to break through and kind of to
Yeah,
not lose your identity and who
yeah,
you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Tell me a little bit about um, since you've been there, obviously now you're a mother and had children, but that was a transition as well with your career and your identity to now have this additional identity, but also to balance life.
Yeah. So that was, I think, the biggest identity shift that I ever had. And I think maybe there is something else coming in the next years, but I think this is the biggest one I will ever probably experience in my life. And I think there is uh, there was a lot going on for me. First of all, like I have my first child, and everything that I knew to be true about me suddenly shatters. It's like I'm not so sure anymore about who I am.
Hmm.
And that was, I mean, and that happened from one day to the other, right? It was there was no transition. It just happened from one day to the other. So I used to think that I was this, and that's why when I sent you the email, I was also mentioning Sia's Unstoppable.
Hmm.
Because in that song, we explore how, like, like she's invincible. I'm a Porsche with no brakes, blah, 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 right? But she knows that this is just BS. Excuse my French. Uh, so I think that's also something that we don't realize, right? Many times that our identity is maybe just a lie. Our identity is these labels that we have been put into ourselves and the labels that we have allowed others to put on us. And the fact that I believed that I was strong, that I was invincible, that I was this and that, it was just some construct that
Yeah.
I just came up with. I mean, I and the people around me, right? So for me, realizing that and realizing that, hey, first of all, because when we identify with our identity, right? When we accept this to be our identity, we are also putting those expectations on us, right? So we know that people expect that we behave that way.
Yeah.
In my case, it would be people expect that I'm strong. People expect that I'm invincible. People expect that I'm, this throw of energy that comes and can do anything, right? And that's what I believed of myself as well, that if I'm going on a sports competition, I will win, I will give everything to win. Like if I do these things, and suddenly I realized like, wait. Also, all that and this like this winning and the thing that, oh, I can do this, I can. It's a very masculine energy.
Mm.
And suddenly I'm faced with something that cannot be more feminine, like as having a child, breastfeeding, nursing a baby. So suddenly I'm like, whoa, wait. I have always relied on my masculine energy to take me to places. And suddenly I have this little thing in my hands that I have no idea what to do with. Uh, and all this masculine energy that I had always had is not useful right now. So what do I do? How do I bring up my feminine energy and all that nursing energy and all this now? And how do I balance those two within me? And who am I if I'm not that invincible person that I thought that I was until now?
Yeah.
So for me, it was a complete like a slap in my face and wake up
Do you
call.
think a lot of women go through that? From one identity that they think they were, and then when this kind of trend, and although if they're a couple in this situation, then they're supposed to share this, but it tends to be certain things that the mother can only do, like breastfeeding, etc. But I think do you think that this is a common?
I think this is common in certain people, above all, like those women that we have relied so much on our masculine energy. I think the women that rely more on, so it look in, I don't know if you know the Enneagram. The Enneagram is this theory that comes, I mean, I'm going to just summarize it. Sorry for the people who have worked so hard in this. But there are like three types of energy, three types of, let's say there are three types of people. Okay, now I'm going to just summarize it. Like some people are like, they have the gift of people.
Mm-hmm.
Some other have the gift of the head, of the knowledge, of the wisdom. Some other have the gift
Physical.
of the can, yeah, the will, the we're gonna do it, right? So the doing, let's put it. So we have the people that are more the being, the relationships, the people. Then we have the people in the head, like the wisdom, the knowledge, and then we have the people that are more in the doing, the can, the will, right? So those women like me, that we were more relying on that side of the will, the can. I think for us, it's a stretch to go into motherhood because it's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the women that are more in the relationship arena, the women that are more in the being, for them maybe it's not such a shift.
Yeah. But do you notice a difference, say, in your, like how you were raised in your mother? Is this something very contrast to how you are and how you are raising your children now?
That's a good question. Um, Mm. I don't know, like I was raised by my mom, but also my grandma
Hmm.
a lot. So my grandma did a lot for us, like me, my brother, and my cousins. So then I had that there. And this is a very, very interesting question. Am I raising my
No,
children
no
different?
charge for the first consultation.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Um, how am I raising my children, right? It is different from how I was raised. Above all, I'm giving, I mean, in that time in the 80s in the Basque Country, right? Going again to that situation, there was no much time or effort on or talk in feelings and emotions and all that. Like, excuse me, but like no. Um, so I am doing an effort, very conscious effort. And I think also like maybe my parents with all the willingness and no bad intention, I think they were not so conscious on their parenting as probably my generation are, right? We have more information, we are more conscious about these things. I think our parents and all those generations were not as conscious as, or they yeah, maybe they didn't have the time, maybe I don't know what, but like I think the consciousness that we have now in parenting is bigger than the one that previous generations had, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's probably I am a little bit older than you, and I would say that the parenting from my generation, we had a lot more freedom. There was less worry, and there was just like, okay, it's summer, you're not in school, you can go out all day, you'd be running around with your friends, no check in when it's dinner time, come home, if you
Yeah,
have to when it's dark. But it was
yeah,
like there was never a concern about like things that people maybe are a lot more aware. Obviously a
yeah,
different world today,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
think back then it was very much you just had this freedom, but you kind of you were they put I think maybe a little bit more um mature, not I don't want if it's maturity, but like they assume that you should be more responsible. Okay,
They
you're
relied more on our abilities than we
yeah.
rely more, yeah, than we rely on our children. Yeah.
And I don't want to discredit how children are raised today. I'm not trying to say that, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's less, but I think it's also a different world. So I feel like there's this newer kind of control or trying to have. But going back to a word you said before, I think your identity. This was interesting because I was thinking about it as you said it. There is with a lot of famous people or people that are obviously there's a thing called reading their own press. I don't know if you've heard that expression,
no.
but that's like if someone's meant to be this film star who's a dramatic actor or something,
Mhm.
but then they do a comedy, it's like such a contrast. But people assume, and the actor even maybe reads stuff about them being this really method actor or something dramatic and blah blah blah, so they almost take on that role of what people think they are.
Yeah,
So people
yeah,
think you're this
yeah,
serious,
yeah,
strong,
yeah,
or you
yeah,
then read that because that's me. That's what
yeah,
people say I am.
exactly. Yeah,
Kind of reading your own press is what
yeah,
the
yeah,
phrase.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and that's the phrase. Yeah. So and that's what we do. But we do that, we start doing that as we're children.
Yeah.
And we all go on, go on. So this is what my parents expect from me. So that's what I'm gonna do. Because my relationship with my parents is my survival method. That's how I survive in this world. So I want the dearest relationship for a child is the relationship they have with their parents. They are completely dependent on their parents, right? So then they're going to do whatever the parents expect. And that's how we go on forming our identity, which again is just a construct, right? So who are you really? If you put the
Which
two children, you take two twins, you separate them. They're gonna be breeding, and you put them, I don't know, in different families. They are gonna be breeding and taking into that family's culture and expectations by osmosis. That's it.
yeah. Well, I can speak firsthand because obviously I wasn't raised knowing who my biological father was. And then I recently, in the last maybe 3.5 years, found I have
Really?
siblings.
Oh
He's
my
passed. So,
I'm sorry.
but now I've been in contact and connected with my half sisters, and
Wow.
we've been on calls together and things. And so I never ever met or had any relationship with my father, real father. And
Yeah.
so when we were first on a call together, because they live in the States and I'm over here in France, they were noticing things about how I would move my mouth, how I would just do certain things, which I've done all my life, which
Yeah.
didn't even assume where I got it from or where I picked it up or how I make
Yeah.
certain kind of,
Yeah.
and they were just like almost like seeing a ghost. Not that we look identical, but
Yeah.
just certain things that they were just completely like that nature over nurture, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this segues nicely into um, the next track, which is track 6. And this is
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton, Starting
Yes.
Over.
Yeah. As you were saying, very eclectic everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we were talking about, right? Like having that first child and all this. And then also here was the fact that uh, I quit my job. So I used to work in digital product management, and suddenly after having my child, I had 6 months of paid maternity leave. And then I went back to work, and nothing was making sense anymore to me, right? I had
Yeah.
changed. And I hated that moment because I used to have so much fun at work. I used to love my work, and suddenly I'm there and sitting around, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm not interested in this. So I quit my job, got another job, thinking like, it was a head of product, reporting directly to the general manager. So I felt like, maybe this is more interesting for me. Maybe, like it's more
A new
challenging.
challenge you needed.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, like this probably, and no. What I really needed at that moment was just to go home, go with my child. So no
Yeah.
new challenges, no fighting to be the warrior here, not taking new and greater challenges, but going back home and being with my child and my feminine energy. That's what I needed. And that's what I did. It took me a while to understand it. So yeah, I mean, before quitting this second job, I already started coaching. So I hired a coach. Then I started doing a coaching certification. And yeah, that's what I did. So when I quit my job, I just certified as a life coach at
Hmm.
that time. And then I went on like doing my executive coaching certification, leadership, team coaching. And now I'm doing something that is very interesting, which is going a little bit into my origins as well. When I was in high school, I wanted to study psychology or sports science. And my parents told me, no, 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 like psychologists, like they have no job. And sports science, you're just gonna be ending up as a teacher. And I was like, what is wrong with being a teacher? Like Mom, you're a teacher. What's wrong with that? But they thought that I had to do something else. So I didn't do psychology, but coaching, I think, took me there. I always loved doing sports. I always continued doing sports. And now I'm doing this certification with HINSA. HINSA is the company that provides Formula One drivers with coaches. So
Yeah.
I'm doing this, and I'm integrating all this sports science within my coaching. So putting together, uh, because I think it's extremely important. When you are in a executive position, something like that, if you don't sleep well, if you don't eat well, if you don't recover properly, right? If you have like too much stress, then obviously that's gonna show up in your leadership. So I'm just putting everything together as we speak
Yeah. Yeah.
and integrating everything. So yeah, the reinversion is starting over. So that was this song was bringing me, right? And there is this one line in this song that I really like, which is nobody wins afraid of losing. I think it is nobody wins afraid of losing, and I think that's extremely important. That's something that I have to remind myself quite a lot, right? That sometimes, wanted or not, and although I know the theory, you know, playing to win and playing not to lose are very, very different things.
Yeah, for sure.
So playing to win is when you actually, you trust yourself, you're there, you know what you can do, and you're doing it from that place of, yeah, I'm okay with myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas playing not to lose is you're doing it from a place of fear.
Yeah.
And when I'm there, and I can recognize myself sometimes being there, it's nothing comes up as I don't know, as well as it could be, right? So
Letting go
I
of the fear.
letting go of the fear, I think it's extremely important. And playing to win instead of not to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also the line in the song that says, the hard roads are the ones worth choosing. Someday we'll look back and smile. I thought that was quite cool.
Yes. 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 And I think, and I guess we can both do that exercise, right? Like looking back now and thinking like, oh my God, I suffered a lot there. But now you go like, yeah, was worth it, or I learned this, whatever it is, right? And I know that, for example, right now at the moment, like I'm going through also like a little bit of a roller coaster. And I know that in 6 months, in a year, I will look back at this moment and I will be like, yeah, that was really worth it. I know it. And still it's painful. Still I'm going through it. I'm like, oh God. But I know that it will be worth it. And that's how we grow.
But I think you have to have that belief. You have to trust the process and trust
Yeah.
that what you're going through will be okay.
Yeah.
And not just I'll live through it, I'll excel, I'll thrive through it, and know that there is more to gain from this than just to survive from it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I completely agree. Yeah, but yeah, as you say, you have to believe in that, right? You have to know that that's happening, because otherwise, also, like, you don't get the learning, right? Many times when I ask my clients, "What's the learning?" Like, they told me, like, "Oh, I have been through this and that and that. What's the learning?" There is no learning here. I'm like, okay, if there was a learning, what would that learning be? And then they start thinking, right? Like, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
well, maybe, this is something that I have learned. This is something that I knew already, but it comes back. It comes knocking our door.
We get to track 7. Now, this film obviously impacted me quite significantly as a kid, but this is from the movie Star Wars, the original 1977, and this iconic piece of music that was created by John Williams. Still today, it kind of is, people know it straight away from the opening bars of the piece.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars also marked my childhood and adulthood as well. I am married to a man that loves Star Wars and Lego. We have so many. Right now, yeah, no, the Millennium Falcon is hidden there.
Okay.
Back there in Lego. And my kids obviously love Star Wars and Lego as well. And for me, well, in our house, everything that has to do with space is very big. And right now, there is this the guest room that we have that is for my children. There is a spaceship there, and we have to go there and shoot asteroids.
Okay.
And we do that like every second day. So yeah, it's I mean, Star Wars always reminds me of my husband and my children, and this is something that, like, my husband also, my child Max, he has an obsession also with so he really loves John. He's only 5 years old, but he loves John Williams. He loves the Spider-Man soundtrack, which is also by, can't remember, but it's also this type of music that is the soundtrack, and it's something that and what is also this German composer, very well known as well. Um,
Hans Zimmer.
yes. So he loves this ones, and so we're always listening to this type of like soundtrack music, and it's something really big in our house. And yeah, so Star Wars for me is that symbol of having fun with my kids,
Yeah.
and for me that is something so important. Um, and I would sometimes I think I don't do enough of that, but and it's something that is always in my mind, right? Like, okay, I need to have fun to do that. And I always remind myself that also I don't have so many years of my children being at home. Like in 10 years, my oldest one will be gone. Maybe they don't go to university anymore, but like she will be a grown-up woman already. So she will be off to somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's just 10 years. So I want to really squeeze in this 10 years, and give them as many hugs and many kisses as possible, and play with them as much as I can.
That's
That's a
lovely.
Star Wars right now for me.
Yeah. I mean, and it should have been a deal breaker when I first met my wife, but we were already married. And then she tells me, "Oh, I've never really seen Star Wars or any interest in it." And I'm like, "What?" It was already
Let's
too
get
late
you
then.
to it. Let's get you to it right now, right away.
And then we did watch, try to get her to watch it, and I think she started snoozing through one of them.
Oh,
It's like a Saturday afternoon, and I would put it on, and I'm like, still. But I think I've seen the original Star Wars probably, 1,000 times. Yes, growing up as a kid, you've seen it like 30, 40 times. Just when I was 10 years old or whatever.
yeah,
But I think the story is, and in that the first episode was called "A New Hope" or something like that. Which, I'm in two minds about the word hope, because I think sometimes I prefer not to sort of rely on hope. I think that we have this in us that we don't
yeah,
need to have hope. We should be able to just take this. But I think the story still has a meaning that is relevant today, more so probably than maybe George Lucas, when he kind of created this thing, even thought it would be, compared to stuff he was looking at previous history. But
yeah,
now it's
yeah,
very significant in not getting too political about it. But
yeah.
I
No,
think your version of with your children is beautiful, to just kind of have that memory for them to take.
yeah, and I mean, I'm going into like the significance also, right? I mean, for me, like Star Wars, I think like as an adult, what I mainly take about that is like that the the force, right? And what we were saying before, like the the light and the dark side of the force. And I think also like that's something that we coaches do quite a lot, right? Like, okay, so hey, we all have a dark side. Let's embrace it. Let's see, but like because if we don't embrace it, then we become Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
So, so that's the thing about this force, that we all have that light and dark side. So, just being aware of your dark side and not like pushing it away, but actually embracing it and saying like, yes, this is me. So the light side is me, but the dark side is also me, and I have that. And being comfortable with that acceptance of the dark side, right? So I think that's an exercise that I think I go through with almost every one of my clients as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very true.
yeah,
We get to track 8.
yeah,
This is Norah Jones,
yeah.
who has a beautiful voice. This
Oh,
song's called Peace.
yeah, yeah. I love her voice. So peace. Um, yeah, this is for me also like this song that is talking about just peace, right? Like the song, like I mean, if you like the voice and the calm, and I mean any of like this album that she has, it's it's the album that I'm talking about is quite old. Can't remember now the name. But anyway, like all these songs are
I think it's
very
from
like
2002.
yeah. Now it won't come to me the album, the name of the album. Do you remember? It's
Come Away
anyway.
With Me,
Yeah, Come Away With Me. And also even Come Away With Me, right?
that
Those
song.
are
Yeah.
like such peaceful songs. Like it reminds me always of nature, and it's all that calm that is in there, right? And I love that. I love the acceptance of like I don't know, I think what I breathe, and maybe this is not intentional, but what I breathe in those songs is the calmness, the acceptance of like, look, a simple life. That there's no fighting, there's no, like looking into myself, right? And what I was telling you, that idea that I had of myself, that I was a warrior, that I had like I can't do this and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
No, forget it. I'm not fighting. There's no fight here. Like I'm just calm, peace, and acceptance, accepting whatever it may come.
Yeah. So this is almost like an inner peace that you've come to terms with.
Yeah. And there is maybe in the song, I think I think there is this moment where she says that like peace is for everyone or something like that. I disagree a little bit with that because
She says, I want peace in the valley and peace on the mind. I think that's
yeah,
one
so
line.
that's yeah, I agree with that. But I don't know, or maybe I just made it up. I don't know. But I thought that she was saying like okay, maybe I'm mistaken. Sometimes, when we talk about this peace of mind, I think like a peace of mind is actually a luxury. That's what I meant, right? Like, so,
Hmm.
someone again that is like working just to pay their bills, or like someone that is in an economical situation or in a war zone or whatever, it's not so easy for them just to say like, yeah, I have peace of mind. There haven't been many Viktor Frankls in the world, right? And it's very difficult to be one. So I think us that are quite privileged to be here just spending an hour podcasting, uh we are privileged and we can have this peace of mind, I think, easier than many other people that are not as privileged as we can be. So I think like having that in mind also, like, wow, I have the luxury of like taking an hour for meditation, or I have the luxury of taking, even if it's 10 minutes, right? So I think the peace of mind is there if we want to. There are some people for whom it's a little bit more difficult, probably, to get that peace of mind.
Yeah. It is an interesting point because it's also what we take for granted. And I think sometimes, a lot of people I talk to, they say, yes, of course, I'm grateful for this and that and what I have, and I have a lot of gratitude and everything. But I think it also makes us have to reflect on the people who don't, and who don't have running water, or have, where they are stuck in a situation where their
Yeah.
house apartment was just blown up,
Yeah.
etc. It's the thinking about their problems compared to your problems, and it's not to say that life has to still exist and people on other sides of the world are dealing with stuff, but I think sometimes you have to put into perspective about how we are all interconnected as energy. So I don't know if I have the answers. I'm reflecting on this myself a lot, because I think, how my energy will support people and their energy where they are.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that sometimes things I do are creating positive channels elsewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, that ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One question about, because I think you also mentioned in this song is something about nature. Now, I was just thinking about this. Growing your children growing up in Dubai, which obviously is one very specific area in the region, which is special. But you growing up in Spain, your husband growing up in Germany, obviously there's a lot of different nature, and not just talking about cities. I'm talking about mountains, forest, seas, like
Yeah.
is that something that is important for them to be able to? Because I remember the first time growing up in the South, I never saw mountains. And I remember the first time I went to somewhere like Colorado and I see these mountains and there was snow on them. And I was
Yeah.
just like this kid in awe, just
Yeah.
like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, it's
Yeah.
flat, flat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not only for them. I mean, it's also very important for me. So when the first year that I was telling you that it was difficult for me, that was another thing. I used to dream in green. So all my dreams had a green filter. And I was like, why is this? And I think
Wow.
because I was missing the green. Um, so we do a conscious effort to take them out of the city. Actually, you will not see me much in the city on Saturdays and Sundays, right? So we go to the nature that we have here, which is the desert, which is the canyons, the wadis. They're here, they are called wadis. We go to the mountains, but the mountains obviously are rocky. They are not
It's very dry.
very, very. I mean, these are the eldest mountains that in the world. So yeah, they're completely dry. There's nothing there. Sometimes you see like a flower.
Yeah.
So and we take them also. So July and August we go back to Spain, and yeah, we have them there running in the meadows and in the grass and taking them to mountains. And also Sri Lanka is quite close by. So normally this year we will not go, but many times during Christmas we go to Sri Lanka also to get that. Yeah,
Change the
you're like
tape.
exactly. It's like green everywhere. Like you cannot see anything else, right? So I mean, we obviously have the sea here. So, but I mean, me myself. I'm missing more and more the connection with nature. I think nature gives me a lot peace of mind. It gives me that connection that bringing me down to earth, right? And I mean, and luckily enough, like I live in an area where everything is green and there are thousands of trees and lakes and everything. But it's still like I miss that nature that is not planned, right? That is not urban. I miss the nature that is wild. That I miss. I miss it, and I'm missing
Yeah.
it more and more every year.
I think even during lockdown, before I was in France, I was in the UK and moved from California back to the. And I was in London and then outside of London, in one of the counties. But during lockdown, we were right up to a park in southwest London, and so
Yeah,
when we had a dog at the time, so we could take him, for walks, and we were literally in this park where lots of trails and things and it was very much like you were not in London, to some extent. You could just kind of
right.
sneak in there. We were very close to it. And so we were just surrounded. You'd see lots of people with other dogs and this and that, or joggers, but it was being kind of in that. And my wife grew up in Denmark where she had, the woods, would play in the woods all day and night, things. So for her, that was also very important.
Yeah,
Where we are now in France, we're in the foothills of the Alps, but having the sea close, but also there's lots of hiking trails and things to do,
yeah, yeah,
and having that nature, like
yeah,
literally we're kind of in, cities are still there, or if you need
yeah,
noise and all
yeah,
of that
yeah,
distraction, but
yeah.
it is important, I think, to have that connection for
I
sure.
agree. So much agree. Yeah.
I think this also segues to the next track, which is again almost the titles are kind of like there's almost a sentence, and this is now part of the sentence where it says "just breathe," and this is Pearl Jam.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this song. I remember the first time I listened to it and I was like, wow, 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 what is this? Um, and yeah, I think also like I don't know, I always like the first time I heard this one, I thought like, wow, that's a funeral song. That's what I thought. It's I don't know if it was meant like this or not, but yeah, for me it was like wow. And I always, I mean, I'm this kind of person that is always thinking of like, okay, so these are things that are gonna happen, so I want to be ready for them. And death is for me inevitable. I don't know. Maybe now, with all this longevity and stuff, maybe some people can live a little bit longer. But I think for most of us, death is inevitable. And I always thought like, wow, this song is really about, the acceptance and not being afraid of that, right?
Yeah.
Like accepting the fact that we're gonna die, and this is happening, and I think this reminds me also of someone. I used to have a podcast, and I interviewed this guy, and he had a horrible accident close by, close to Dubai. He was going downhill with his bike, and a truck hit him,
Oh.
pushed him to a wall, broke all his ribs and everything. So he almost didn't make it, right? Like it was a real fight for survival. And he was saying that at that moment he thought, okay, I cannot control anything but just my breathing. That's the only thing that I have at the moment. So I'm just going to focus on that. And that's how he because also where they were, it's not easy to get an ambulance there. You're not in like you're afraid, you're away from civilization, let's put it that way, right? So until an ambulance could come and all that, there was some time. So he said, like, I could just only focus on my breathing. And I think that's also something important in this song also, right? Like, okay, like, the moment that I'm dying, and it also reminds me the moment that I was giving birth. The only thing that I could focus on when I was giving birth was exactly that as well, just breathing. That was
Yeah.
because the baby was coming, but like, just you help and all that, but the baby is coming. It's their own thing. So I can breathe. That's what I can do. So to calm down my nervous system, to stay present, to be there, right? And I think that's I don't know. I love this song. The raw voice there, and as that is strength, right? That acceptance, and at the same time, like that, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it has that calm strength. I love that in that song.
It's very I'm not a huge Pearl Jam fan, but I've there's been certain songs that have touched me or moved me over the years with them, their sound. But listening to this one, I wasn't that familiar with it, and then just hearing it almost didn't sound like them. I mean, I
Yeah,
like his voice, Eddie
yeah,
Vedder, but I was like impressed and surprised because it was it felt like a more, like you say, raw, but also it was so personal in
yeah.
a
So
way.
personal. It's so
Yeah.
personal. I think like this song is like has this, oof, it almost touches you. You can feel it. You can
Yeah.
feel, yeah, you can feel the emotion in his voice. It's yeah. So yeah, that's when I die, I am making a public a
Have you
public
already
ask
started
here.
working on your playlists now? Is that my nephew's
That's
21 and he has already I guess a death funeral playlist that he's created, and I was like, wow, okay, I need to, it's almost
wow.
like when you have a will, you need to have your playlist attached to it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Well, I only asked for this one. That's
Yeah.
it.
um we get to track 10 now. This is Vangelis,
Yeah,
the Blade Runner. This is the end titles. So
yeah.
the last, and obviously Blade Runner. There's so much we can unpack there, but go first with the music and what this means.
So yeah, I was a child. I still remember the cover of the CD, and I don't know, my dad was my portal to other type of music, right? Because in the Basque Country, like there was just rock, 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 and punk rock. Basque. That was it, right? So, and I remember my dad playing this Blade Runner soundtrack, And I was like, wow, a little bit mesmerized. Like my son is with Spider-Man and he Zimmer and Star Wars, right? So for me, that was like, wow, what type of music is this? Uh, at that time, I didn't watch the movie right away. I don't know why, but this soundtrack, and for some reason, the end titles was my favorite track of the whole playlist as a child. This pam 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 pam. It has like this. Wow, what's happening there, right? Like someone is running. There's something going on. So it really, yeah, it was so exciting, the type of music that it was, and maybe as a child I was not so exposed to that type of music, right? So for me, it was something really different from everything that I heard. And then I remember watching the movie and then reading the book as well. And for me, it was like, wow, and this is something really different. And this is, I remember thinking, is this going to be the future? I thought, like, at that time, I thought, like, no way, right? But now, in the year 2025, I remember that I have to watch it again, but I remember that movie, the first one, and I think of like, wow, like maybe we're not so far away. Maybe this is
Yeah.
actually happening. Maybe we have like a, yeah, the next pet I have, it's actually a electric sheep or something like that, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's for me, like I put this as the 10th one because for me it's like the call to the future. I mean, and also I put it after my funeral, right? Like it's like because
When you come back.
this is something that is gonna go there, and I think humanity. I mean, this is the biggest shift that humanity, I think, is gonna have ever. We have never created intelligence, and I think creating intelligence is not creating a tool or a technology. I think creating intelligence is creating a new species, and that I don't know how that is gonna go.
Yeah.
Could be completely south, or that could be amazing. But I think also, and getting here a little bit controversial, but like we're, I think right at this moment, there are 3, 4 guys, 7, that are deciding the future of humanity. And we're just letting them do it.
Sadly, but true. Yeah.
And I can't believe that we're actually doing that. Like, hello, why are we not regulating what these guys are doing? Um, Also, it scares me because it's just men from what I see. So, um, what are we doing with this, right? I hope the old Europe, with its regulation, it still regulates a little bit more than the US or other places. Um, but yeah, it's for me, it's a wonder. Like, where are we going with all this? I think we are a little bit naive, thinking that it's just another tool, because it has the possibility of not being just a tool. It has the possibility of being a complete new species. So I hope we don't get there. I hope like this doesn't go south. I think there are lots of possibilities of this going amazingly well, and fixing all the problems that we have, climate change and many others, right? Hunger and so many other things, so many other problems. But as everything, if it goes in the wrong hands, then we don't know.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying, and I tend to, people are a little bit asleep. They're distracted by hyenas and lions and just other kinds of visuals that tend to just keep them numb and not um,
Yeah.
understanding where we are. It's almost like we're in this science fiction or sci-fi kind of dream.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, that's the thing, right? Like Blade Runner, like I thought was so much sci-fi and so many other movies, right, that we have seen. But then you go like when my little one tells me, so what is the closest planet that we can live in? And like, too far away. But maybe one day humans are having a Star Wars in reality. I don't know where this is gonna go, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, what are we doing? And can we first thinking of, I mean, like Elon Musk wants to find another planet to live in, but like instead of finding another planet to live in, why don't we actually try to not
destroy the one we're in?
yeah. Yeah, with all the technology and all the possibilities that we have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is definitely something to reflect on. But I think, Blade Runner was a great example of, is this just a dream?
Yeah.
Or what is real and what is,
Not. Yeah.
so I think but having our future in the hands of a few is scary and absurd, to say the least. But I think there are a lot of times that people are waking up, and I'm hoping that it'll be, more and more to understand how much we can work together and be, positive for each other, not this
Yeah.
just destruction.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, like humanity will, I mean, will take back, right? Even though like this can go completely off, I think humans will work together in order to save whatever it is, right? But I think we're already a little bit late in saying, hey, hello, we shouldn't be doing this at the moment. Like we have to regulate what these people are doing at the moment, right now, right? But anyway, again, I do have a lot of hope in humanity. I think we will be able to tackle all these issues that we have. I think we will be able to use technology in our advantage and not in not to destroy us or to destroy our lovely planet. So yeah, this is that.
Mireia, what's next for you?
What's next for me? I I have several projects in my head at the moment, so I don't know what form it will take, but I think this what I was saying before, right? This integration of well-being, call it performance, with the leadership coaching that I do is something that is really something extremely important for me, something that I mean, since a child has been calling me. So I really want to put that together and be of service to people that need it.
Okay. And people can find you, at bareandbrave.com. That's one
Yes.
place on social media. Are you anywhere that's they can attach?
Yeah, LinkedIn. So that would be Mireia Mujika with J and K. And where else? I mean, Instagram, I also have like Bare&Brave page, but yeah, I think LinkedIn and the website is where you can find more information. There is also a YouTube channel that we're just putting together right now.
Yeah.
Still a little bit, yeah, empty.
But this is also, you working with individuals from all over, not just in the region, right?
Yeah.
You do have
Yeah.
clients
Yeah, I
virtually.
have had clients everywhere. Right now, mainly I have them in the region. So I mean, above like Saudi, I have a lot. Saudi, then UAE, the other Gulf regions, and then I have Europe as well. I have had them in Australia, in Latin America, in the US. I never had anyone from the US, did I? Not that was sitting in the US, no. But
Not
yeah,
yet. Now it's
not
going to
yet.
change.
Not
All
yet.
the listeners out there from Rhode Island, wake up.
Here we are. Yeah. Yeah. And then I also, so I work also teams, right? And teams normally, like I like working with them in person because that's where, I can much better work on their dynamics. And then there have been clients that have taken me to the headquarters, whether that was in Europe or elsewhere. So yeah. We travel a little bit.
Thank you so much for taking us through this journey with your 10 tracks. It's been really incredible, and I've enjoyed talking to you and just your insight. Also, just learning so much from your perspective. So it's been a real honor to have you here. I say to everybody as we say goodbye to be kind, be humble, be love. And I wish that to you, your family, and to your work. And much respect.
Sean, thank you very much for having me here. As I said, I was really interested in this exploration. I think I will use this technique with some of the clients. With your permission, I will always put the credits on you.
It's free sharing is caring, so please.
It was a great exercise for me, really. And yeah, same thing, really a pleasure being with you. Thank you very much for all your insights as well. I always say that in this conversation, there's always learning, right? Even when I coach, I always learn. So this was a pleasure. I learned a lot from you as well. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, same to you.
Thank you.
Suffers for his sports jacket.